What's going on, y'all? So it's a day late, but I'm still gonna give it to y'all. Bad Girls Club Redemption, um, reunion part two. Uh, as to why it's a day late, you can go look at my other video that I posted about what happened. I had an accident. I fractured my leg, and I'm not gonna get into, my knee. Actually, I'm not gonna get into all of that because it's in the other video that I just posted just now. But to explain everything. But so we get off to how this shit starts. And I really was gonna try to do this because I got home. Let me tell you something. I got home yesterday like around five something, but then around 6:30 or whatever, because I had took finally got my medicine and I took that, and next thing you know, I was knocked out. Okay, and I needed it. And I just been sleeping on and off because of the medicine. Dealing with this pain in my leg, so it is what it is. But the episode, well, this reunion part starts off with them talking about, Julie, basically Julie and and Danny's relationship and Julie's relationship with everybody in the house, and how come Julie wasn't there, and how Danny said she felt like when they made up in the therapist office, well, the life coach office, the last time they met, that it was all for show, it was fake. The only time Julie wanted to talk about something was when she was in the confessionals, did up with makeup and all that stuff, but she really wasn't, trying to confront nobody when they was just in the house. Okay, she had talked shit in the confessionals. I mean, all y'all did that, but I hear what she talking about. And Danny thing was how you get mad at her when at first you get mad at Judy because she was talking to Sarah and Natalie, but then you go and you start talking real hard with Rocky. So basically, you doing the same thing to her, and I get that. And Rocky was like, basically, Julie felt the way and wanted or expected Danny to come talk to her. Danny expected Julie to come talk to her. So therefore, it nobody came to talk to anyone, and it was just a big divide. And that's basically why they was separated. And Camila was like, "It's fucked up that you not strong of a friends. You not strong friends if you let a show come between your friendships." And Danny was like, they haven't really spoken to each other. They're not friends right now. Was spilling all Julie T talking about something. Julie was talking shit about her own friend from back at home. So she not surprised that Julie was talking about other people behind their backs and stuff like that. And she thought she really knew Julie, but obviously she don't. And then, you know, um, they get this Skype message from Julie, and I'm sitting here like, she's running down about who did this and how Sarah was annoying, how Danny was this, and how this was that. And I'm just sitting here like, you don't want to come because you're in a better place and all this stuff. And I mean, I get that, but don't get on the camera and talk shit about them, okay? Don't talk shit about them. And they can't confront you and say it. That's why they cut the shit off. What really irked me was Sarah. Sarah kept talking, kept talking. Tanisha's action, Danny stuff. They trying to look at the picture and hear what they saying. She keeps commenting. Rocky trying to answer a question. She keeps commenting. And I'm like, girl, hush it up. Hush it up, okay? Shh. So, Sarah just keep on talking. You got Danny telling her to shut up. They got Camila telling her to shut up. She keeps getting up. They talking about the relationship once again with how come if I skip some stuff it wasn't important because basically at the beginning of this episode it was just a lot of run around for the first 30 minutes until a fight jumped off, and Sarah just was out of control, and it seemed like I was just like somebody punch her ass in the mouth so she could shut the fuck up, and I was just like, girl, what is going on? Because every time somebody got asked a question about their relationship with somebody, she's speaking for them as if she know what they gonna say, and she's voicing her opinion, and she's basically saying, oh, she's trying to throw in her situation of what they did to her in the house and all that stuff, and we know they fucked you over. We know that, and let's not act like you didn't have anything to do with it and you didn't do nothing. And even when they was like, when she got into it with Jada, it was tit for tat, and she was trying to say it wasn't. Even Danny and Camilla was like it was tit for tat, and it was because it was. You touch some of their stuff, or vice versa, and then y'all, touched each other's stuff, and that's what y'all do. That's what y'all do when y'all up in this goddamn house. So it is what it is. And I was just like, if she stand her ass up one more time, because look, don't put on a bodysuit. When Britney Spears had that bodysuit on, it was not sagging like that. Okay, it was not sagging like that. And correct me if I'm wrong. Was it a hole up in the leg when she was sitting down playing with? And I was like, quit getting up. And she get us and give Teresa, Tanisha, a shirt and a calendar talking about I'm just like Oprah. Everybody got a calendar and a shirt underneath their chair and all that stuff. And she was talking about how she once liked Rocky, and then all of a sudden she don't because Rocky, had issues with her for some reason. And then Camila was talking about how she kind of separated from Rocky because of people saying that they didn't like her attitude or some shit. She was like, basically, don't be cool with me one day and then don't like me the next day. Be real with it. I understand that. But then, Sarah once again was still talking and still talking and still talking. And Rocky said something, and they was like, girl, what's going on? She was like, are you having a panic attack or anxiety? Are you finna have a nervous breakdown? And, she was like, Tanisha, I don't have anxiety. I don't have anxiety. I don't remember what Rocky said, but next thing you know, Sarah gets her saggy booty ass up. And I'm calling her saggy booty because that's how that jumper was sagging on her ass. Get her ass up and go after Rocky. And I was like, see, girl, really? So, Rocky said, then shut up, bitch, or sit down, bitch, or some shit like that. Shut the fuck up. Because she started clapping at her, and that's what really made Sarah Turner look at her like, bitch, what? And then she was like, shut the fuck up, or sit the fuck down, or whatever the fuck. And that's when Sarah wanted to go at Rocky. And, basically, Sarah got some of her hair pulled out, and, it was just pointless. So, in that melee, Tanisha got hurt. Her finger, I guess a nail almost got ripped off or whatever. Rocky got scratched up or something like that on her finger. And all this shit, them going backstage and they trying to get back on the stage and be cool or whatever. Rocky talk about someone needed to be checked for rabies or STDs. I'm like, girl, okay. I'm not even gonna touch that. But once again, Tanisha talking about foods for a friend. Man, if I knew this was gonna happen, I could have went and ordered an all-you-can-eat shrimp or lobster platter and all this stuff. Like, girl, get the fuck. And um, Jada was backstage, and it was like, what's happening? Here go Rocky. She was calling you white trash and all this stuff, but look at her, she naked and all this stuff and yada yada yada. And it was like, Camila want to fight your ass. It was like, fuck that bitch. She could just cry about her camera. I want my camera. See, this is why I like Jada to a certain extent on her season, but on this season, she's petty as fuck and she's very hypocritical and contradictory. How are you gonna get upset that somebody don't tell you what they did to your stuff, won't own up to it, but then you won't own up to the fact? You wait until the goddamn reunion to somewhat own up to the fact that you took her camera or whatever the fuck, or they gotta go back and look at the footage or whatever, and then you want to make jokes about it. Like, girl, I don't respect you at all. Danny was like to Camila, they finna bring Jada out. And it was like, I can't fight this girl in this fucking dress. My titties gonna pop out. I barely got on panties or whatever. And Danny was like, bitch, yes, who the fuck cares? You gonna fight this bitch? I was like, look at this shit. Girl, why did you come outside? Did you honestly think this? Did she honestly think she's not gonna get into a fight or not gonna get heated? Because Camilla did have on the wrong type of dress. I'm like a nipple slip in any direction at any time. But she was like, "Fuck it, let me walk the runway," and they come back out there. Next thing you know, Sarah and Rocky get into it once again because she talking about her hair getting pulled and this is my real hair that they pulled out and all this stuff. And when Rocky come back outside, they was like, the audience was Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. And then Sarah felt some type of way, took the water bottle and sprayed the audience with the water bottle. And she was like, well, you're old, so when you get old, your hair do tend to fall out. This is what Rocky told Sarah. Sarah gonna try to get that. I had to rewind it to see what she was doing. She bit down trying to get that little ass table and throw it at Rocky and couldn't even get it up. And, basically they had to pull her ass out like she was a crazy bitch and told her she couldn't come back to the reunion because, you know, she tried to throw a table at them. And she feeling some type of way. She was like, they treated me like hell. They gave me hell up in the house and now I can't come back and all this stuff and yada yada yada. And I'm sitting here like, Sarah girl, you was doing a little bit too much. Yes, we know that you got treated a certain way, but you was just doing too much. You couldn't wait until it got to that part. You just kept interjecting. It wasn't all about you. This whole reunion is not all about you, and that's what it seemed like she was trying to make it. And I was here when Rocky and Rima was talking like, girl, you got a bodyguard, Cal, and he ain't do shit. He didn't do shit, so what the fuck was he there for? But after that, this is when they bring out Jada. So basically, the ending of this reunion part was the Jada Camila thing. Jada comes out, and Camila right off the back want to know about her camera, and they trying to skip over it. And then Jada was like, "Okay, we could talk about that shit." And I'm like, "Go ahead and talk about it because just get it out the way because you fucking wrong." And then they play the footage. Jada still wouldn't admit to it. She was like going beating around the bush. But then they was like, just roll the fucking footage. So they rolled the footage and of course. And then she was like, yeah, I took the camera and I threw it over the wall. And I'm like, how come you couldn't just say that in the first place? Because you a scary bitch. That's what it is. See, I don't like Jada in this instance. I really don't. She just turned me completely off because, like I said, she was being very hypocritical and very contradictory, you know. And she got pissed off at Danny because first of all, Camila and Jada was going back at it. And Camila whole thing is I called you on the phone and I apologize for what I said about your mom. It was like I was pissed off over something real petty. Camila, if that was really why you was pissed off because she was about to sit on your foot or whatever, that was petty as shit, okay? But she still said that she called and she was like, when people hurt me or I feel a certain type of way, I'ma dig deep. So yeah, we already established that she apologized whether she meant it or not for saying that shit about your mama. She called you up and that was your opportunity as soon as she said that shit about your mama for you to open up your mouth and be like, look, I did take your camera and I threw it over the wall and it's my bad. Y'all could have cleared the air right then and there. But no, you waited until people see the footage on the reunion show for you to get called out on your bullshit and talking about something. I learned from it. I learned from it. And I'm like, bitch, what? And then you get pissed off. Well, Camila was about to fight your ass, but she really wasn't finna fight your ass. She just threw that fan in your face. And you talking about something. You throwing in my face that my mama a crackhead or whatever the fuck, and then you got Rocky and Rima getting upset and crying and stuff, and I'm like, crying? What the fuck y'all crying for? Y'all just fake as fuck, okay? If you ask me, it wasn't no reason to cry because if it was the roles were reversed, you would be just as pissed off at Jada if she did that shit to you the same way Camila is doing it to her. That happened to Camila. So like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I just seen how hurt she was. Okay, and I know calling somebody mama a crackhead or whatever, regardless of if you playing or serious or whatever the fuck, that's wrong as shit. But I'm pretty sure it ain't the first time you heard it. And like you said, it don't matter. So, it is what it is. You want a fucking bad girls club, and that's what they do. They go to your deepest shit. You should have kept that to yourself, like Camila said, and not put it out there that your mama was a crackhead, then nobody would have known. But you decided to disclose that information. And Camila took it upon, given the type of person and her character, she gonna use that shit against you. I bet you know now not to say nothing. But Camila said she was wrong, which she was. She was 100% wrong for calling her mama that. But still, she owned up to it, and you waited until the reunion to own up to it, and then gonna get upset. And Camila threw that fan up in your face. And security got them before they could fight. Camila was like, fuck this shit, let me go in the back and get some tape because I'm finna have a nipple slip. And Danny was calling Jada out on her bullshit about how she's being so contradictory and hypocritical. How you gonna act one way and always talking about something you want people to own their shit, but you don't own your shit, and you doing this and doing that to other people, but then when it's done to you, oh, it's a problem, whatever. And then you want to get pissed off at Danny because Danny was calling you out, and you gonna go up there and sneak. I don't know if it was really a sneak because Danny was right there in her face. They was right face to face, and she just punched her, and they tried to break it up. But Tanisha and Jada was about to get into it because Jada was like, you gonna let them talk about my mom or do some shit like that? You seen what they did. And Tanisha was like, bitch, don't go there. Don't go there. And at that moment, we realized who really the head bitch is. Like, Tanisha really it's the head bitch of Bad Girls Club because They was holding Jada back because they wasn't finna let Tanisha go over there and try to do whatever the fuck. And Tanisha was hollering at them like she was the motherfucking mama. She was like, Rima, sit your ass down. Sit down, Rima. Sit down before I pull out my belt. That's how she was talking. I was like, ugh. But this part, yeah, it wasn't nothing. I was bored with it. This is why I say this reunion didn't need to be 3 parts. Because this part could have even been condensed to 45 minutes and then tacked on that 5 minute part from the first, episode, first part. And it could have been like an hour and a half altogether. It really could have. Judy coming on next week. I forgot to talk about that. Judy was in her dressing room talking to the plants again. Child, let me get off of here because my leg's starting to hurt. I'll see y'all later. Peace.